Hey, what's up, guys? This is Juan Pablo from 100% Finance at 100%finance.com. Mr. Credit Repair, Mr. Passive Income, Mr. Real Estate, Mr. Let's Keep It Rolling. Just checking in with you guys in regard to how to remove derogatories off your personal credit report for less than $10, right? So this is how you do it. First off, what are they? What are derogatory marks on your credit report? Basically, they're negative items or negative marks on your credit report that have been there because of more than likely non-payment, or if you missed several minimum payments. Account is considered delinquent if it's been if a borrower has been late on the payment under 180 days. Over 180 days is considered derogatory. So that's, as a side note, that's the difference between a derogatory account and delinquent. Delinquent is less than 180 days, and derogatory is greater than 180 days. And with derogatory items with negative marks, they can stay on your credit report for 7 to 10 years. Normally it's 7.5 years from the day that the delinquency occurred. All right, so what are the types of derogatory items? Well, there are collections, there are charge-offs, liens, repos, repossessions like car repossessions, foreclosures, judgments, and bankruptcies. Examples would be, if you had a construction lien on a property and you didn't pay a construction company what they owe, so they put a lien on the property, or unpaid water bill. Repossessions will be cars, foreclosures with homes, judgments if you were evicted and the landlord won possession of the property and they want to take you to court for damages, for monetary damages, they can, and you'll have a judgment against you. Things like that in bankruptcies. I assume you know what a bankruptcy is. So those are the types. So some people ask, okay, if I have a derogatory on my credit report, let's say I had a collection account. Let's say it's a credit card I haven't been paying and it's been sold to a collection agency. So you no longer owe the original creditor, you now owe this collection agency. So the question is, should I pay it off? Well, some may argue that it is foolish to pay it off. Why? Because the damage has already been done. The original creditor said, you know what, we're just going to put this debt from this borrower on our books as a loss. So we're writing it off. And we're going to sell this debt to a collection agency, maybe for 25% of what the original borrower owed us. We're going to sell it to this collection agency and let them deal with it. So they already put the damage on your credit report that is derogatory, is in collections. And as you see on your personal credit report, all these red marks, derogatory. There's red or yellow marks. Green is good, yellow is not so good, red is bad. And you'll see that on your credit report. So being that the damage is already done, again, some may argue why pay for it, because it's not going to improve your credit score at all, because it's already on your credit report as a negative item, a derogatory item, a negative mark. So what a person should do is pretty much focus on the good credit references that they have on the personal credit report. For instance, like if you want to improve your credit, try focusing on the accounts that are already active and in good standing. Try reducing the balances to below 30%. If you can get them below 10%, that's awesome. But below 30% of the maximum credit is debt to credit ratio. It should be 30%. So if you have a credit card for $100, you should have less than $30. And hopefully you don't have a credit card for $100. Hopefully the minimum balances on your credit cards, this is a side note, is at least $5,000 if you are interested in applying for business credit for business use. But again, that's a side note. But back to the subject. You want to be able to focus on your positive credit references. Reduce your balances on those accounts. And if you have inquiries on your credit report, get those removed. And we have that on our website at 100% Finance. An easy report for less than $5 on how you can remove inquiries yourself. And basically you do this yourself as well, which we're going to get into in a little bit. So focus on the good accounts. Get those up to speed, reduce the balances, remove inquiries, and then that will boost your credit report. And don't worry about the collections. Again, some may argue that. However, some creditors may want you to deal with these derogatory items, such as mortgage companies. Some mortgage companies require you to handle these negative items. If you applied for a mortgage before and just say you were disputing certain negative accounts, a mortgage company will tell you you have to cancel those disputes before you can move forward. So sometimes they may want you to resolve it. Again, every creditor, whether it's a credit card, whether it's a loan for a car, whether it's a mortgage for a house, or a personal line of credit, whatever it is, they're underwriters, people who underwrite, your loan. They all have their own standards. So it's important for you to know what their standards are if you want to apply for a loan or some type of credit with this company. However, some of them do require you to pay some of these collection accounts off. Why? Because they view it as, well, having unpaid collections is worse than having paid collections. Because they might think, well, at least this person is trying to resolve their debt. So they view it better. And again, some mortgage companies, they require you to do that, to pay off those negative accounts. So if you do have to pay them off, if you're applying for a particular type of credit or loan, again, if you do have to pay it off, make sure when you do pay it off, you can either pay it off completely or you can settle. All right. So it depends if you want to settle, and settle should be used as a last resort, because it doesn't look that good, but it's better than not paying it, right? So as a last resort, you should settle. So general rule of thumb for settling is, if the account is over 3 years of age and delinquency and is derogatory, offer them 25% to pay the whole balance off for 25%. So if you owe $100, offer to sell it for $25. If it's between 2 and 3 years old, offer 50%. If you owe $100, offer them $50 to pay it off and settle it. And if it's under a year, under 2 years, I would say, the derogatory, offer them 75%. So if you owe $100, offer them $75 to settle. Again, lump sums work better, but if you must make payment arrangements, the shorter the payment arrangement is, the better. And always focus on paying off, when you're calling these collection companies, if you have more than one, the smallest account first. Pay that off first. So that way it gives you some motivation and it becomes a snowball effect. So then once you pay that smaller balance off, you're motivated. Now you're going to roll that payment from the smallest one into the next smallest one. So don't spread your money out. Like if you had $100 to spare a month, don't put 10 on this card, 10 on this card, 20 on this card. Put all that 100 on the smallest one until it's paid off. And you make arrangement with these collection accounts, okay? So, and when you do that, this is very important. If you do decide to settle, make sure you have this in writing, that they will, and you can do this too, as a contingency, have in writing to remove the derogatory item in return for payment. Some creditors will do this, some will not. Okay? Because collection companies, at times they're like, they don't want to work with you. Why? Because you owe the money. And then when you pay them the money, they're like, okay, why should I help you? Our business is done. So it's kind of a sticky issue. So you want to make sure that you have in writing that in return for this payment, I expect the derogatories to be removed. And you should only send them a check for payment. Do not give them access to your bank accounts. I repeat, do not give them access. Send them a check, and on the front of the check, you should have something that's called a restrictive endorsement, which is, I'm going to paraphrase, it's basically saying the creditor or the collection agency agrees that by cashing this check, that they're going to remove this derogatory item, whatever it is, from my credit report. And you endorse that on the front of your check, and you keep a copy of it. So again, you keep a copy of the written statement saying they're going to remove the derogatory, and you keep a copy of the payment, verifying the payment. Because they might not take it off even when it's said and done. You have to contact them again to do that. And again, I learned that the hard way. I settled with a collection company back in college about a debt for, it was a rent issue or something like that. And I settled with them, but I didn't get it in writing. Years later, when I wanted to be a real estate investor and apply for housing, they said, "Oh, man, you have this collection account for this apartment building." And I'm like, "No, I settled it in college years ago." No, I didn't. Sure, I paid a certain portion, but they didn't consider it settled. And guess what, guys? I didn't have the proof. So guess what, guys? I had to pay it off in full. And guess what, guys? I most certainly did, because your credit is important. And I'm a real estate investor now with over 30 rental units. So I started off with bad credit. I had collections and stuff like that. I know how it feels to have creditors call you. And you don't want creditors to be hounding you like that. So you don't want to be spreading your money out for this creditor, this collection agency. Knock them out one at a time. Okay? So that's in regard to should you pay them off. Quick answer is no, unless you have to. Okay? All right, so let's say that we'll go to the steps to remove them. Removing derogatories from your credit report. Can you do it? Yes, but let me put this out here. There is no magic wand to removing derogatories from your credit report. No magic wand, no proven system, no special thing that you can do. So how do credit repair companies stay in business? Well, they send a letter that's called a dispute letter. That's what they do. Basically what they do is they send out a letter disputing negative items on your credit report, which is perfectly legal, in hopes that they don't correct the issue or whatever they're disputing within a 30-day period, which means if they don't, then they might have to remove that account or that debt or that negative item altogether. So it's kind of like a gamble, right? What's the chances? It's 50-50 pretty much. What's the benefits? The benefits is, or the best thing that can happen is that everything gets removed. Yay! You just send some letters out and now your credit improves because they remove these derogatories from your credit report. Bad news is, but let me backtrack. And sometimes when you do that, when they remove it, they sometimes put it back on there. And the bad news is nothing happens. But the total money you lost was the cost for buying my report for doing it, so you can do it yourself. Again, you're not paying a credit repair agency to do it, so you're saving yourself hundreds of dollars. 2, you're just paying for postage. And 3, if you have to pay to print, that's it. What's the total cost? Drum roll. Less than $10 if you don't only send letters out for one round. Okay, which I'll get into later about the rounds. So there's no magic wand, there's no guarantees. Just to give you a heads up, right? But it's better to try, right? And fail than never try at all. And it's nothing really, just to send out some letters and you can possibly improve your credit. So steps. What are the steps to removing derogatories? First step, which you guys probably would know, you guys are intelligent people out there, is get a copy of your credit report from the 3 credit reporting agencies, the 3 credit bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Get a copy. I use creditchecktotal.com. I think it's a great company to give you soft inquiries, so it doesn't give you no hard inquiries or any hits on your credit report to bring your score down. And it tells you exactly your credit score, all the accounts. It even shows you what inquiries you have, that you can remove those as well. Again, I have a report on that. And it gives you suggestions on how you can improve your credit. You know, like this credit, the debt to credit is too high on this, or you did this, you did that. And it's a really good system, a really good company, Credit Check Total. Or you can get it free. All right, and I think it's annual credit check. I have it in a report, I don't remember, but I think it's annualcreditcheck.com or something, annualcreditreport.com or something like that. So you want to order your credit reports, and the step 2 is you want to take a look at each credit report from each credit, reporting agency, each credit bureau, and check for errors. Check for errors in your name. Check for errors in your address. Check for errors on the account or the account numbers and things like that. Because if there's errors and you have supporting documents proving that they made mistakes, those are the first items that you should send dispute letters to each credit bureau. Those are the main ones that you want to start with. Okay. 3, so you want to basically report those errors to the credit reporting agencies by sending them 1, 3 forms of identification, and 2, you also want to send them dispute letters. So in the report, I give you samples of dispute letters you can send, and they're editable. So the only thing you have to do is, it'll say enter your name here. You just put your name here, enter your address here, or your social. You just fill it in and the letter's already written for you. Only thing you have to update is just your contact information, as well as the name of the items you're disputing, obviously. Everything else can stay the same, pretty much. And we have those reports on the, we have those dispute letters, as well as any other verbiage to send to the credit bureaus on the report. So you want to have that, those items. So again, you want to start off, and you want to make sure you're not being frivolous here, because sometimes they can deny doing any type of investigation. They feel like your case is frivolous, meaning that you're sending countless number of letters out and there's no errors to dispute. So what credit repair agencies do, and what you can do yourself and save yourself money by not hiring these guys, is basically they're just disputing every negative item, whether it has errors or not, just in hopes that they'll say, okay, I give up, I'll just go ahead and remove it, in which case they do. And the only thing you have to do is just send some letters out. So you want to start with those dispute letters, have no more than 3 collection accounts per letter. Wait till you get a response in 35 days, which leads to the next step. And then if they remove some of those items, then you send out another dispute for another round for different accounts. So let's say, for example, you had 6 items in collections that you want to dispute. 6 negative items in your credit report. 3 of those items, you have supporting documents to prove that there's errors in it. You dispute those first. 35 days later, you get the good news that it's been resolved, you're happy, or it's been removed. Now you send out another dispute letter for the remaining 3 in which you didn't have any supporting documents. Some of it might be removed, some of them might not. If not, you do it again. You send out the same letters. But just don't do it more than 3 times per account. Otherwise, again, they'll deem it as frivolous. All right, so again, the next step I said is they'll give you a response in 35 days. If you're happy with the response, great news, celebrate. If you're not happy with the response, send out another letter. If you don't get a response in 35 days, then you send a complaint letter to the FTC. Okay? So, and if you don't like the response that you keep receiving back, even though you keep sending round after round, say 2 or 3 rounds maximum for a certain collection account, and you truly believe there were errors and they're just not in agreement with you, then you want to file an official complaint with the FTC. And again, I have the link on the report as well as how to officially file a complaint. If you truly believe there were errors, not if you're just saying I have a derogatory item in my account and I'm just going to just go to the FTC regardless, even though the information on there is accurate, don't do that. All right. So that's pretty much it. If you go to the 100%finance.com, which is right here, go to the ebooks link on the top of the page, and then you'll see the report for derogatory removal. We have reports on inquiry removal or inquiry removal, this is tomato, as well as how to remove derogatories. All right, and again, I have to repeat, it's no guarantees, but it's just a shot in the dark. And I mean, you might have the opportunity to remove derogatory items and improve your credit for less than 10 bucks. Surely you can afford $10 to boost your credit by doing it yourself. All right. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me 100%finance@gmail.com. I got a collar shirt on today because my mama told me so. So shout out to moms for telling me to look a little bit more presentable. No t-shirt or v-necks or whatever. But I didn't shave, Mom, so I'm just being a little rebellious. But I'm just chilling. Go Dogs! Sick 'em. Hey, happy investing, guys. You want to learn more about real estate? Visit the website. Got a ton of free stuff. I added some more documents on the valuable resources page on like how to analyze deals with real estate. And oh, I should put a sample promissory note on there. I forgot to do that. Just came to my mind. But I create things value for your success because I want you to succeed out there. I want you to be the best that you can be. Have a better financial future for you, your family, for your kids, because you deserve it. This is your success. Peace, 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 peace.